Champions Road to Champ Week. It is presented by Wendy's. And here come the Cats, the historic Rupp Arena where they will meet LSU. And while Duke and Virginia each one on each other's home court, LSU held court early this year. Kentucky tries to return the favor tonight. With the drive, got it to go. What a shot. Here's Mintz, that's a three, and it's a ball game, 61-58. Look at the hustle. Here comes Mintz. Eats it with the front. Unbelievable. There's another reach by Pinson. He will dunk it. LSU. What a flurry to the finish. At that time, LSU was playing as well as any team in the conference. Their last 11 games, they've won 4 of them. And they're in that pig pile in the middle of the SEC, sitting there at 7-7. The 8-7s and 7-8s have a lot of work to do, and of course the 4 teams at the top continue to separate themselves and act as favorites as we get set for the SEC tournament. But before that, a couple of huge games in the last couple of weeks here. Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch, welcome everybody. Well, the last game against Alabama, Kentucky proved they are not only really good, they are really deep, and they're going to be tested again tonight.
Yeah, well, first of all, nothing wrong with a pig pile ever in mid-February. And if you look at Kentucky right now, they're down. A couple of key guys, Severe Wheeler and Ty Washington, their playmakers in the backcourt are out with injuries right now. And how does it happen? Well, Ty Washington got dove into with a loose ball in the Florida game, and immediately he knew that there was something not right in that left leg. Tried to play at Tennessee and got really frustrated in the second half when kind of tweaked it again. He is definitely out, and they are saying he is day-to-day. And Severe Wheeler with a right upper body injury as well. And those are your 2 key guys, Ravi, in terms of handling the ball, handling the pressure, making plays. They handled it against Alabama because Kentucky still does have Big O.
They do, and he's going to be in the middle of everything. He has put up some historic games this year. We've been part of many of them, but you look at his greatest hits, it's 20-20-20.
Yeah, it's uncommon what this kid's doing. And to me, everyone's chasing him for the National Player of the Year because of these dominating numbers night after night. Just an immovable rock at the rim is what he is, and plays with such a joyful, gracious spirit. But the best pressure release in the SEC around the rim is 34 in white. And without those guards on the floor, how will that affect his play on the offensive end? Hard to tell, but Kentucky still a lot of weapons to work with.
Leads the nation in rebounding, offensive rebounds per game, and defensive rebound percentage. He also leads Kentucky in blocks and in steals. LSU's a real hard one to figure out. I think the X factor is Xavier Pinson. He missed a bunch of games, and they were not the same team. Now he's back, and at least the last couple of games getting all sorts of minutes.
Yeah, he's the voice, he's the quarterback, he's the speed that LSU has to have. And more importantly, he can really pressure the ball. And Kentucky tonight, without those 2 kids, could have some pressure put on him. And Mintz and Grady are going to have to handle it, get that thing side to side, and get Oscar Tshiebwe involved.
Barry Oglesby hesitant to throw the ball up, and as a result, it ends up in Darius Day's hands. His first shot doesn't get over the rim, and then a shot is blocked from behind. Will Wade's LSU starting 5. It is the same one when they were going well that's now back together. Murray, Pinson, Days, Wilkinson, and Reed. Tari Easton is their best scorer. He'll come off the bench. Murray's their best 3-point shooter, about 37%.
That is a big starting lineup for Kentucky. Mintz right at 6'2", 6'3". Grady is a 6'6" guard, and the rest of them dudes are 6'8" to 6'9".
3 on the shot clock. Xavier Pinson, pretty play, can't get it to go. They've missed a couple at the rim to start. It's Jacob Toppin who's handling the ball now. He handed off to Kellen Grady. Brooks, Tshiebwe, and Mintz, the other 3 on the floor for John Calipari.
If you are LSU, you cannot have live ball turnovers in Rupp Arena. You have to fight Oscar Tshiebwe, and you cannot let Kellen Grady get 3 for 3s.
Right away, they go to Tshiebwe, and Efton Reed picks up the foul, and there was a quick double team, something they're likely to do. I mean, the goal for Will Wade, double Tshiebwe, and make sure there's a guy glued to Grady. Is that right?
That's the formula. LSU, they fire on the post is what they call it. They double the ball out of there, as well as anybody in this league.
Already one foul on Reed, so Tshiebwe works in the corner and Reed steals it. Now Grady has an alley-oop, and there's Keon Brooks to get it going.
Kentucky so well drilled, Ravi, at finding the guy out of the dunker spot. And John Calipari has made a killing off of that over the years.
Really good crowd on hand at Rupp Arena. Pinson all the way, and he missed another one. They're 0 for 3 at the rim.
Man, make your layups, make your free throws.
Jacob Toppin, another dunk.
Kentucky was held to a season low 60 points the last time these two teams played in Baton Rouge. Kentucky's so good, man, at setting the rules of the game. The two-point part of the floor is where they want to own on both ends.
LSU has missed 3 layups. One shot's been blocked, so Days will go long distance, and he buries the 3.
Quickest release in this league at that small forward position from the 3-ball.
Days' three-point shooting down a little this year, 34%. He was 40% last year. Tshiebwe into the paint, Reed into the air, and that's foul number 2 on Efton Reed. And right away, Will Wade has to go to his bench. He's going to bring Tari Eason in as Reed's going to take a seat.
Kentucky's energy early is good. And Tshiebwe gets the ball slapped out, but the alertness of Grady and to find Keon Brooks, who was parked in the dunker spot in the half-court game, finds one in transition. And man, Jacob Toppin, how good has he been now? 3 straight games in double figures. A live body at 6'9" is 0 in white.
Tshiebwe has worked an awful lot on his foul line jump shots and by extension his free throws. I read different articles now, whether it's Player of the Year articles that he is prominently featured in or the fact that he's starting to rise on the draft boards of NBA organizations.
I think there's a great chance that Oscar Tshiebwe returns another year to Kentucky. The NIL deal is certainly going to enhance that opportunity for him. Tshiebwe is like Tyler Hansbrough at North Carolina back in 2009.
I like it.
Does not get bored with the basics. He wears you out in the simple parts of the game.
Again, one of the keys to Pinson being back is he can deal with that double team of Mintz and Grady. Without him, they were at a big-time deficit. He's just got to make his layups.
LSU's just got to find their mojo again. They had it going prior to Pinson's injury. That ain't going to work.
Just swallowed that basketball from Pinson.
Good description. Shot it into his mouth. Tshiebwe is really good, Ravi, at keeping his body off of you. Kentucky's really good at playing with clean hands, but with physical bodies.
Tari Eason is a terrific scorer. He's got to realize there's 2 seconds on the shot clock. Now there's 1, and he did get it off. He didn't hit any rim, and they play on. Keon Brooks sees an alley. He pulls up to the short.
Kentucky will stress you at every level with their conversion offense. And they can rip and run. That time Toppin is a 4-man, jerks that thing off and brings it up quick.
We've seen Pinson go to the rim. It's his right knee that's caused the problems. His 3 drops, and that's one of the things that he's really struggled with since coming back. He's lacked that explosiveness, and now a steal, and here he goes. And the reverse, and he gets that layup to go, and just like that, LSU's pressure has put them on top by a couple.
LSU is still the 3rd best defense in all of college basketball. Right there behind Texas Tech and San Diego State. They can make life miserable for you on this end.
Now Darius Days, who has played center a lot. Last year we saw that a lot too as Grady drives on a high floater. Soft touch, no good. Darius Days the rebound.
Well, when Kentucky catches it going downhill, Ravi, they are almost impossible to keep out of that paint.
To Jimmy's point, this is the 106th ranked offense, LSU, and yet they're the 3rd ranked defense in the country. Eason, good shooter, wide open, splash.
You put 2 on the ball to stop Pinson. He does a good job of just dragging the defense 1 step away and frees up Eason for a clean look.
20-plus points each of his last 4 games.
I would press the heck out of Kentucky if I'm LSU tonight.
Well, after a bumpy start, missing 3 layups, they've found the net, now lead it by 5 as Toppin baseline jumper's no good. There's Tshiebwe and a foul. That's going to go against Eason. How rare is it Xavier Pinson 3? He has 1 for 14 since his return, but he gets 1 and then he assists on the next to Tari Eason. LSU has got 11. Meantime, Oscar Tshiebwe wreaking havoc. 4 points, he'll go to the free throw line with an attempt at a 3-point play with the SEC on ESPN. Many SEC fans may remember Collis Temple, a 3-year starter for LSU from 71 to 74, 15 and 10 as a senior, and his academic and athletic performance qualified him to earn both Southeastern Conference All-Academic and All-SEC Team Awards and honors. One of 15 players selected by fans and writers as an All-Century Team member in '09. He's in attendance tonight, as is William F. Tate IV, who is the president of LSU. He is the first black president of an SEC school. And we want to remind everybody, as those two fellas are here in Lexington as part of Initiative. For more storytelling, stream the Black History Always collection that you can find on ESPN+. Proud of the university and the work that they're doing, and of course their sports programs as well as their academic accomplishments. Back here, Oscar Tshiebwe. You talk about a man that's accomplished a lot. 21 double-doubles this season. The leading candidate for Player of the Year in most people's eyes. Obaji's on that list. Davis is on that list. Maybe Drew Timme shows up. I know you're a big Jaden Ivey guy, but it seems to be Oscar's to lose right now.
I think it is, Ravi, and those guys are having fabulous years, but one guy in college ball is having an historical year, and that's Oscar Tshiebwe. You're doing things that Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson couldn't do.
Right.
That's rare air.
5 on the shot clock. LSU not afraid to milk that clock. They jump it low. Eason fires it up there. Really good heads-up look from Xavier Pinson.
Eason is such a phenomenal talent off the bench in that running for 6th man of the year in the SEC. Just that middle post-up game of Eason is hard to guard, man. And out of timeout, Will Wade calls 13's number. Set the ball screen in the middle, dive out of it, and Grady just doesn't fight hard enough and gets held off for an easy 2 for LSU.
So John Calipari's message to his team earlier today was pretty simple. I'll play the 5 starters. I'm going to give other guys a chance, but you got to prove you're going to stay on the floor, because I'll play 5 tonight.
Well, it's amazing. If you help your team win, the coach will keep you on the floor. If you don't, we'll just go with the 5 starters.
Ooh, Grady, long shot, no good. Tshiebwe working the glass like no one else. Picked up an offensive rebound.
But Ravi, you have to fight Oscar Tshiebwe. I've said it before. If you fight him, he's going to get 15 and 15. If you don't, he'll get 30 and 18. There was no fight.
He's on his way to that. He's got 7 and 3, and the leading shot blocker for Kentucky picks up his 2nd.
Eason got his shot blocked and he dropped his head. Don't like the body language at all. You fight through it. You got your shot blocked, so be it.
Screen for Grady. Better shooter going to his left. Mintz. Good catch, and then he fired it off Pinson. It's a heads-up play by Davion Mintz in the corner.
Tshiebwe lives at the front of the rim. His feet are so good, and it's a pretty physical box off by Eason, but Will Wade told his guys today, we need 2 bodies on Oscar every time the ball is shot. One guy not going to handle it.
Tshiebwe's got the last 7 for Kentucky. Lance Ware, 55 into the game for Kentucky, as Mintz steps through and throws it up. Now they got a mismatch. Eason with Mintz on him down low. Pinson's looking at him, trying to figure out a way to get it to him. It's instead Murray who finds him, and he missed the layup. And Tshiebwe picks up his 4th rebound early on.
Was that 4 or 5 now? LSU missed shots at the rim?
Yeah, in the paint. Yep.
Yeah, that's hard to overcome on the road, man.
Oscar deep again. No good. And who's this going to be on? I think they're calling that.
Kentucky, again, they're really good.
Lonnie Wilkinson.
That's who's on. I mean, Kentucky's so good at physical with their lower body, but showing their hands, keeping their hands clean in the eyes of the officials. Tshiebwe literally lives in the middle third of the floor on both ends. Seldom gets outside.
Now, that may be a hook and hold on Wilkinson, and they're going to look at it. He and Lance Ware got tangled up underneath the basket. Terry Oglesby is our lead official tonight with Myron Jarrett and Patrick Evans. It's a football game underneath that basket, Jimmy. That ball goes up and you're looking for bodies and you're focused on 34, but you bring Lance Ware in with his size and his jumping ability. And he was the one that was in the middle of that with Mwani Wilkinson.
You have to enjoy a roughhouse game, is how Cal put it to his guys today.
They're hooked up.
There they are. To me, it looks like Lance Ware did the clamping.
Yeah.
Is that how you saw it?
He certainly did the clamping and the pulling down.
And we have done a good job in college basketball getting the hook and holds out of the game for the most part. The scoring is about the same as it was over the last couple of years. The fouls are down slightly right now. Not quite a full foul per game nationally. I think it's tied to the number of three-point attempts that were taken and how we cover ball screens, a lot of drop coverage. And there's they're both clamped, and then the hold by Ware and the tug down, I think, is what Oglesby, Jarrett, and Evans will see.
It's interesting. Patrick Evans, one of the officials, just called Myron Jarrett over and said, "You want to take a look at it?" He'd already seen it. Now he invited the other official to take a look at it.
Ravi, the game is rough. I mean, you've got elite athletes with huge size, and we have not expanded the floor since the invention of the game. There's going to be a lot of incidental contact in college basketball. And we've made a lot of progress in terms of freedom of movement. The rules favor the offense. Very few of them favor the defense. We don't need more fouls called in college basketball to slow the game down and go back to 19, 20 free throws a game where we were a few years ago. Just continue to emphasize the points of emphasis in the rule book and call it as the rules are written, and our game is in great shape overall.
Yeah, or put a referee's jersey on you. I mean, you made this call real soon. You said Lance Ware is the guy that ended up pulling him down.
That's how I saw it. I mean, both arms were initially hooked to each other, but to me, Lance Ware then doesn't let the hook go and does the pulling down. But we'll find out.
Saw Ware play very physical in last game. He's one of those guys, because of his height and his activity around the rim and on defense, tends to get under the skin of the other team, which is the kind of teammate you like. And it feels like, as the explanation is given to Jimmy, it's going to be one of those that each team is assessed a foul, and then perhaps Ware gets it for extra. So I looked at it and said each team's going to be given a foul, and then you give Ware one for pulling, or no?
Common foul on LSU, and then a dead ball contact technical is how the officials viewed it on Lance Ware.
All right.
There'll be free throws by LSU to resume play. So interesting to me that they
get there by suggesting Wilkinson was responsible for the initial foul, and then it was a whistle, and then because the whistle blew, it's dead ball, and that guy right there commits a technical foul.
That's exactly how it's been viewed. It's interesting to me the wordage that they used was dead ball contact technical as opposed to what looked to me like a hook and hold, but either way, I think they're going to get to the same result. There's a foul on foul. I agree with the initial foul. He comes in with a hip check. And then Lance Ware with a dead ball contact technical, which to me looks like a hook and hold.
Yeah. The way LSU has weathered their initial shooting slump. And LSU, you know, you talk to these coaches, you always like to say, as Murray throws up an air ball, so you want to play it in the 50s or 60s or 70s, depending on the team and what they do. LSU wants this game in the what?
I would think in the 60s. They're the worst offensive efficiency team in the SEC right now in conference games.
Tshiebwe quickly double teamed, so who's open? Oscar's worked hard on getting rid of the ball. This time he shoots it, and that's the way it's going for Oscar Tshiebwe this year. He drops in his 8th and 9th point.
Interesting, LSU doubled the life out of Tshiebwe and then they ran out of the double and allowed Tshiebwe just to have poise and patience and rise and fire from 12.
Day's high arcing three, in and out. Toppin nearly took it from above the rim.
Heavy minutes, I think, for Kentucky's starters tonight.
Deion Brooks just ran into a wall that was Mwani Wilkinson and lost the ball.
Yeah, you know against Kentucky in the dribble drive, you have to choke off the elbow, and LSU did a nice job of it.
Xavier Pinson beats Toppin of the rack.
He looks like the fastest guy on the floor. Would you agree?
Tonight he does. Kentucky's got 3 turnovers. LSU hasn't turned it over yet. Toppin, the floater, no good. Tshiebwe's tip, no good. Yeah, they're going to be challenged tonight, and if LSU puts the ball in the basket, they're going to be able to press a little bit. They haven't been able to do that and turn them over even more. Pinson way downtown, bang! And Xavier Pinson starting to feel healthier and starting to feel like he can contribute again offensively.
I said LSU needs to find their mojo again. Well, Pinson is the guy that has the mojo.
Double team on Oscar, dribbles away from it. Look out, he got hit in the face, laid it up and in. Was the whistle earlier? The whistle was earlier. Eason got him with an arm on the face, but the play and the foul was called way out top on Xavier Pinson. I think we're in for a bruiser tonight. A big-time bruiser. Typical SEC game, and LSU. There is Collis Temple. And again, his start at LSU from 71 to 74. Starring tonight, Xavier Pinson. Already a dozen points, couple of assists. And LSU got a 20 spot here early at Rupp, where the Cats haven't lost this season. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by, wait for it, boom, Wendy's new hot honey chicken sandwich, also available on a biscuit at breakfast at participating U.S. Wendy's. Adam Sandler wanted to be in a house as we watched the half-court shot go down during the break. I've also seen Jimmy taking me to class here. He's writing on his whiteboard. What do we got? What do we got? This has to do with Arkansas last night.
Well, and Texas Tech as well. A couple of teams I think can get to that Final Four because of one thing. They play mother-in-law defense. Constant pressure, constant harassment. Always on top of you, making life difficult for you. That's what we saw last night from Arkansas. And I think they're going to be a real handful because of how they play the game on that end of the floor.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's so stereotypical about mother-in-laws.
No, it's not at all. But that's how Arkansas was last night. That's how Texas Tech is. That's how UConn is. UConn's another team we don't mention as a Final Four team when we start throwing the names out. Arkansas, Texas Tech, UConn, keep an eye on.
Did you mention Love there too?
There's a lot of love as well, but there's also a lot of pressure that is relentless at times.
Tiffany line 3 in the truck. Kellen Grady floater pulls him. Within 5, 20 to 15, LSU. Xavier Pinson's been having his way into the paint, steps through, lays it up and in. Somebody's feeling it tonight.
Rather, his speed is an issue for Kentucky in this game. That's where you miss Ty and Xavier Wheeler that can stay in front of number 1 in purple. And Pinson right now is just taking the ball anywhere he wants, anytime he wants against anyone that Cal tries to put on him. And that's just going to force Kentucky to shrink the court more and more in those gaps.
And you know, you think about losing Ty Washington and Xavier Wheeler on the offensive side. Wheeler is a tremendous defensive player, and Pinson's not worried about having either one of them tonight on the floor.
And now you have more speed in the game with Eric Gaines. Kentucky chasing those two smaller guards right now more than defending them, and there is a difference.
Gaines picked up all those minutes when Pinson wasn't playing. Again, he's got a brace on that right knee, sets up Days, high arcing three, and this is the vintage LSU team we saw early this season. Calipari's calling timeout, and he and Keon Brooks are having a discussion about how they should have played defense on that play. 10-point game, Tigers.
Ready to break down of Kentucky's defense as the ball screen occurs right here. Watch Keon Brooks. Are we switching? Are we not switching? A little bit of confusion, and Days just kind of a ghost screen and slips out of it. And John Calipari says, no, not tonight. We cannot allow guys that are pretty good shooters to become really good shooters because we're not in the airspace on the touch.
Dante Allen, number 11, into the game for Kentucky. Good shooter. So you have Grady and Allen both on the floor, and a tough cross-court pass finds Grady. Tshiebwe will take that shot. High arcer, no good, and look who goes to chase down that rebound. Nearly had it. He'll say Eason grabbed his arm. Oglesby did not call it. 6 games for your Saturday ESPN. Tip-off today, noon Eastern. Big Ten Showdown, Purdue, Michigan State. Noon Eastern, 11 Central. Right after College Game Day on ESPN. It can be seen on the ESPN app. Pinson gets a switch. He's got Allen on him. And Days too strong. Tshiebwe just out-jumped everybody else for that rebound. And Oscar is now halfway to his double-double. He's got 5 boards. Shot deflected. Allen had it. And it was deflected out of bounds, and then Ware stepped out of bounds.
There's an obvious difference in the speed of Kentucky's transition offense tonight without Sylvia Wheeler and Ty Washington.
Yep.
You know, they're bringing it as fast as the 5 bodies on the floor can bring it. It is not close to the warp speed that we're used to seeing from Kentucky when those 2 young men are suited up.
As Wheeler and Washington together on the bench. They get a huge game at Arkansas this weekend. And a 10-2 run in the last 3:45. Xavier Pinson, the story so far tonight, 14 points. And now he's got Lance Ware on him. Bryce Hopkins, 23, into the game for Kentucky. Eason pushed off Mintz, and no call was made. And then coming high over the top is Alex Fudge into the game. Well, I think Will Wade minds that. An aggressive attempt by 3 in purple to go after it on the offensive glass.
LSU's going to be okay, though, if they continue to have 5 dudes in a stance. And even at 1-3-1 like they're in now, you fight Kentucky, and you're doing a good job of keeping them off balance in the half-court offense.
Grady with 10 on the shot clock. Ware on the baseline has to kick it. And now we got 5. Good switch by Gaines to help.
Switch high and hot, didn't it? Good find.
Yes, sir. Ware, he got fouled there by Eason. What a pass. Davion Mintz. And look at the shot clock. 1 second left on it. Second foul on Tari Eason. So a little foul trouble first half. Eason and Efton Reed. 25-15. LSU.
Get OT, Ravi.
All right, guys, thanks very much. A couple of great West Coast games Thursday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, ESPN2. Number 1 Gonzaga in San Francisco. The Dons are a good team. It features 2 of the top teams in the West Coast Conference. And on ESPN at 9:30, the Pac-12, 12th ranked UCLA and Oregon. Both games are also on the ESPN app. So an interesting lineup given the injuries to Kentucky. As Ware's free throw, back iron, no good. Bryce Hopkins getting some minutes tonight. We saw Dante Allen for a few seconds. Jacob Toppin appears set to check back in for Calipari.
Ravi, LSU has not turned the ball over so far in this game. And again, if you're going to win in Rupp Arena, have about 1 live ball turnover per half. That's all you can afford. You have to fight Oscar Tshiebwe. They've started to do a better job of that and make life miserable for Kellen Grady, make him work for everything. So far, LSU doing a good job of checking all 3.
No doubt about it. Xavier Pinson again, if you're just joining us, 14 points early, 5 of 9. He's hit 2 3-point shots. And Oscar Tshiebwe, 9 points, 5 rebounds for Kentucky. Kentucky playing without Sylvia Wheeler, their point guard, and Ty Washington. As Days throws it up and in. Darius Days is having his way. He's got 8.
Really good offense by Darius Days. Again, just using a ghost screen, smoke screen, however you want to refer it to free himself open and catch that ball on the move.
Bryce Hopkins, big body in the air, and he draws a foul. They're going to get Fudge.
I'm
from
talking
the back.
Ravi with Darius Days right here. That's just a smoke screen. That's not a screen that's actually going to be set with contact. And a lot of teams refer to a different language, but it's a good way to get a guy the ball on the move when he's being guarded by a bigger defender. Will Wade is doing a terrific job of isolating Darius Days and Xavier Pinson so far in this game.
And Kentucky fell behind big to Alabama before they rallied in the game without Wheeler and without Washington. And they find themselves in a similar situation tonight. They were down 13 in that game.
Yeah, they were. The major difference is LSU's a team that's going to guard you. And that's not Alabama's strength.
Look at Oscar. How about a free throw offensive rebound? Mintz, good crossover by Pinson. Lays it up. No, but there's Tshiebwe, and they're going to call goaltending. Oglesby was right here, and he blew the whistle when it was in the hands of Oscar Tshiebwe.
Terry Oglesby comes running in. Watch Tshiebwe again, right in front of the rim, man. He owns the real estate. The kick out and the drive by Mintz. Does the ball get all the way outside the cylinder? It does not. That is the proper call.
Captain Reed back on the floor. He plays with 2 fouls. Again, Reed and Easton, 2 fouls for LSU. 6:30 to go in the first half. Pinson nearly got away with a walk, and it turned into a turnover. That's that first live ball turnover for them. And that goes out of bounds off Darius Days. So there's one.
And if you're a coach, you tell your guys before the game, I'm going to give you 1 per half. And you try to hold him to that number. And if you're LSU, go the next 6:21 without a live ball turnover, you're going to keep the lead.
Days just held Grady, who throws it up and in. Telling Grady's second field goal. He's got 4.
But you'd rather force Grady into a floater than a knockdown 3. LSU continues to jump out hot on any ball screen or off-ball action.
Crowd to its feet here at Rupp. And they're late in the clock with 6. Pinson. No, they're going to call an offensive foul on Xavier Pinson. And that is number 2 on Pinson.
That is a big foul and a big play by Kellen Grady. Because Pinson has the advantage with natural speed, but Grady really never opens up his hips, and he gets square on Pinson and stays square.
Brooks has inside position on Efton Reed. They didn't see him. And now Tshiebwe at the free throw line. Days wrapped him up. How quick was Tshiebwe's first step?
Tshiebwe has driven the ball more in this game than I've seen all year from the elbow. John Calipari sees something in the offense, thinking that 34 and white has an advantage down the pipe.
And bonus for Kentucky. They're in the bonus already, and Kentucky's committed just 1 foul.
I mentioned Tshiebwe reminds me of Hansbrough, doesn't get bored with the basics. What does that really mean? Well, one of the basics in ball as a big is to run rim to rim as hard as you can. He never takes a trip off, not one time. Takes phenomenal care of his body. He's a phenomenal teammate. He watches as much film as anybody. He always goes to the glass on both ends. He fights through box offs all the time. The basic parts of the game, he does not get bored with.
Hansborough's career as a collegiate player, better than the professional ranks. Same with Tshiebwe, or is it hard to predict?
It could be. Tyler was not a great pro. I don't know if Oscar Tshiebwe will be or not. It does not matter. He's going to be one of the most beloved Kentucky players ever.
Every time LSU has the ball, this crowd rises to its feet, and it is a packed Rupp Arena tonight.
It could be a 1 a.m. tip, and it would be a packed Rupp Arena this time of the year.
Reed on the roll, and the flush. Came up, set a high screen on Mintz, and a good bounce pass to find him.
Yeah, where's the weak side defense that has to rotate over with a physical tag? Just wasn't there.
Now, the obvious difference, without Wheeler pushing the pace, is the pace of Kentucky. Mintz paint, Toppin won't take that 3. Mintz will. Grady went over the top, and they're going to get him for going over the top. 31 in white, Kellen Grady.
LSU's doing some good stuff, man, on offense. They get a little double-up action, and Efton Reed on the ball side rolls out of it. Had he gone to the other side, it may have been a roll and a dive situation or a pop. That middle ball screen, one of the most difficult things to defend in our game right now.
Do that high screen again. That time Mintz switches off. Wilkinson, that's a travel.
Where was Wilkinson trying to go, man? He's got to just keep the ball moving. That's not his strength, trying to make plays off the bounce.
Wildcats are not a big three-point shooting team, Jimmy. They've attempted just 2 tonight, and they've missed both. So they're 0 for 2 and shooting 38%. Very appropriate for what LSU's defense does. They force you into that. Toppin. No. Second live ball turnover that Jimmy's talked about.
Should not have happened. There's no reason to throw that pass if you're LSU.
Grady, big time bomb, and that's no good, but that long rebound goes to Kentucky.
They go floppy action for Mintz. Let him run that baseline. Grady now becomes the point guard. LSU just switches it out and chews it up.
Toppin, that's an air ball. And you can see just a discombobulated like offense for Kentucky,
sync,
right?
Aren't they completely out of sync in the half court?
Again, no Wheeler and no Washington, 2 of their backcourt stars. Keon Brooks reached over the top, and he picks up the foul. LSU's having their way at Rupp Arena so far tonight. 3 minutes, 4 seconds to go in half number 1, and they lead by 10. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by TaxAct. File for less and get more with TaxAct, the official tax filing software of bowl season.
A good job at defending him with 1.5 guys before he ever catches it. If you can't open up those gaps if you're Kentucky right now, LSU continues just to shrink the floor and make life miserable. Such a different team, though. It's like losing your starting shortstop. Like, your team should look different when your all-star shortstop's not on the field,
let alone 2 of them.
Yeah.
Set up Days for a 3. That's way off the mark, and Tshiebwe picks up another rebound. He's got 10 and 7 here in the first half, but they're down 9. The lowest amount of points they've scored in the first half is 30, and that is certainly in danger. Sitting here with 19.
Remember, they were held to a season-low 60 at LSU earlier this year.
Yeah, Grady no good. Good attempt to tip it to Grady by Tshiebwe, who went up with one hand. I think the other was being held.
Michigan is in terrific hands with Phil Martelli.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm a big fan of Juwan Howard. Fell in love with him in Atlanta a few years ago, his first year. His coaching, his communication skills. But he's very fortunate to only get a 5-game suspension.
A lot of people who think he's fortunate to still have a job.
You can make the case. Will Wade choking this game down offensively. Doing a good job of not taking too many fast, quick shots.
Offensive rebounds are close, 5-4 right now. And Kinston challenged Tshiebwe, and that did not get the iron, so it's a shot clock violation. You can just see, though, Xavier Pinson, I guess to the point, Kentucky's without its 2 point guard, certainly Wheeler their main point guard, but LSU went through the same thing, and they became a different team.
Yeah, they did.
They went through a 3-game streak where they beat Kentucky, they beat Tennessee, and they beat Florida. And they were at the top of the conference. And since then, they've gone 4 and 7. At full strength, you could make a case they're as good as any, and that's a great reverse by Mintz.
That's the best guy Kentucky has tonight, creating some offense for himself or others. He's not tie or severe, but he ain't bad.
Mintz wants Brooks to switch back with him, and there they do. And now it's Brooks on Days.
Just a matter of time till they get the mismatch they want. with all the bigs on the floor, just ball screen till you get the advantage.
Brandon Murray, that's another turnover. And they're starting to pile up for LSU. Crowd will go bananas right now if Kentucky can get some points, and they got a chance with Mintz 3. No. Captain Reed wants a timeout, and they get it.
Did it look like I wanted a timeout, Ron?
Sure did. Didn't you see me put my hands together, Ron? That's a timeout.
Ravi Pinson came in with 18 assists in his last 2 ball games, but he's shooting that thing tonight. And his speed is a problem. It's going to continue a problem for Kentucky. You know, Mintz can kind of stay in front of him a little bit, but LSU is just running their offense so they get the mismatch that they want.
Yeah.
And it's been Pinson and Days that Will Wade has gone to. Will he close out this half with number 4 and number 1?
14, he's made 2 of 3 threes. By the way, for people that were listening and wondered what the Ron reference was, there was a post-game interview Will Wade did earlier this season after being very agitated about a call that was made. And one of the interviewers was named Ron, and Will was still running real hot in that postgame, and he was in a rocking chair. And he was rhetorically asking Ron questions after Ron asked him questions about a call.
It is classic. 1 or 4, those are your guys.
Pinson, he created that, and that's going to be a foul on Brooks. And was he in or outside the arc?
I believe he was inside the arc, Ravi. But Pinson, once again, it's a 4-on-1 with Brooks being the 4-man and Pinson the 1. I thought he stepped in when he got fouled. No, that's going to be a 3. Yeah, that's going to be a 3. 3 free throws for Pinson. And Will Wade has been spot on with his patience, getting the mismatch, and then trusting the isolation so far in this half.
All right, Oglesby holds up the 3 fingers. Another women's basketball double dip for your Thursday night on the SEC network. 8:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Central. The great Aaliyah Boston, number 1 South Carolina against A&M. Both games available on the ESPN app. So while Pinson will shoot 3 free throws, you know, you talked about nationally some of the other teams beyond the top 6 or 7. Where does a healthy LSU team fit into the equation?
They are a problem. They are a real problem. Because defensively, with their size and how they kind of junk the game up at times, changing defenses on you. Tari Eason has not had a great half. He's averaging 17, and Will Wade knows it. He still believes in his team a ton. He just told us earlier today, we need a punch to get us going again. Can't have a bigger punch than winning in Rupp.
No, you can't. Pinson's free throw rattles around, and it goes down. Xavier Pinson's season high, Jimmy, is 17 points against Lipscomb. That free throw gives him 16 and a half. And he'll go down, and he'll get a break here in the last 30 seconds and get a huge hug from Will Wade. So much of this seems psychological for Pinson to know that the leg is okay.
Yeah, the leg is okay, and he knows he can go by Kentucky anytime he wants, at least so far in the first half. Right now is where you need your playmaker, Wheeler or Ty to break it down and make something happen.
Yeah, first Damian Collins sighting 4 as Grady rolls, throws it up. Tshiebwe, he's there. He got hit. He will not get the ball to go, but he picks up the foul. And again, that's going to be on Mwani Wilkinson. That's his second. Efton Reed was right there, and he's lucky to avoid his 3rd foul.
Yeah, it's amazing that Tshiebwe fought his way through all that contact just to come down with the ball initially. Just knocks people out of the way. He owns his spot as well or better than anyone else in college basketball.
Curious here with 6 seconds to go and the free throws. What adjustments does Calipari minus his backcourt make here getting into the second half? What is he going to say?
Well, the problem is checking back in right now for LSU, Xavier Pinson. I mean, it's a personnel problem that Cal has in this game. The speed and quickness of number 1. All Kentucky can do is play the guys you got. To Seth's point, get as many touches as you can for this guy on the free throw line, and Grady has to get loose and knock down some threes in the second half. And you don't want Pinson to pick up the third, though, right now by charging at the end of this half.
And they take Tshiebwe out so he doesn't pick up a foul.
This is a gamble to put Pinson in. I know what you're trying to get out of it, but be careful.
Pulls up. No good, and that'll do it. Xavier Pinson, though, has a superstar role in the first half. 16 points. On the other side, Tshiebwe 12 and 7. Very good performance by LSU, already with one win against Kentucky this year. That was a 65-60 victory. Pinson's got his game on cruise control. LSU 31, Kentucky 23. Time now for Kevin and company in the studio. You're watching ESPN's Road to Champ Week. It's presented by Wendy's. And we have certainly been reminded here at Rupp Arena how fragile these teams are. Injuries play such a role, and as you look forward to conference tournaments and NCAA tournaments, healthy players. Kentucky only 12 times this year has completed a game with a full roster. 31-23, Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch back here. We'll get to Pinson and his success in a moment. One guy has kept Kentucky in this thing.
Yeah, Oscar Tshiebwe, and one thing he's done well, he's been fouled 7 times in this game, so he's gotten himself to the free throw line. But the defense just continues to shrink and surround Oscar Tshiebwe, making life tough for him. But, you know, he's starting to handle the double teams better. And LSU, one time they had him doubled and backed out of, but he made him pay. How many touches can you get Tshiebwe in the second half is a big question mark right now for Calipari. Kellen Grady's got to get going because why? Is Xavier Pinson a phenomenal, really clean first half. Came in as a 17% three-point shooter in conference play. He's now made 2 out of 4 in this ball game. His speed is a problem, and Will Wade being patient with his offense, Ravi, till he gets the mismatch that favors one in purple and letting him go to work.
16 points, 17 is his season high. Tshiebwe's got 12 and 7. Kentucky, only the second time this year they didn't make a three-pointer in a half. The other one was that Notre Dame game, and 23 is a season low and a half, and 1 assist for Kentucky.
That's the problem. That ball is there's no playmaker on the floor. I mean, Mintz is the closest thing, but that's not his strength. Kentucky's going to have to just grind their way through this thing with no tie, no Xavier. It will not be easy. The LSU defense is not going to go away.
You have to figure, though, if they're going to really lock down Grady and double-team Tshiebwe, Davion Mintz is going to have shots.
Yeah.
Tshiebwe, first touch, and he got fouled, threw it up, and just like that, Darius Days picks up the foul. You notice they've shifted Reed onto Jacob Toppin. Reed has 2 fouls, and that's another story that's starting to percolate. Pinson 2 fouls, Days 2 fouls, Reed 2 fouls, and Eason 2 fouls. The big 5 for LSU all have 2 fouls.
Ravi, think about Tshiebwe. He has now drawn 8 fouls in this game, and we played 20 minutes. So you do the math. He's getting fouled about every 2.5 minutes that he's on the floor. Calipari cannot afford to take Tshiebwe out of the game or Kellen Grady out of the game.
Dante Allen got less than a minute. Hopkins played about a minute, and a rare 0 for 2 from the free throw line from Oscar Tshiebwe.
LSU ended up with 5 turnovers in that first half.
And Brandon Murray didn't have a point either.
No.
LSU's consistently shot the ball with about 3 seconds on the shot clock. There's another one. Tshiebwe is 8th rebound.
Yeah, choking the game down. If you're Will Wade, keep the pressure on your guys. Only 1 live ball turnover in the second half.
Now Keon Brooks too strong. Davion Mintz hustles. There's a 3. That's good. That's a hustle 3 for Davion Mintz.
Sometimes the ball knows when it deserves to go in, and because of Mintz's hustle, the ball knew.
Pinson picks up another assist. Efton Reed with the baseline jumper.
That is uncommon lack of defense by LSU.
Pinson got Brooks on him, and the whistle blows out on the floor.
Kentucky getting aggressive in their conversion offense. Brooks with a pull and the miss, but there's Mintz with the hustle and the work. Davion Mintz right there in terms of in SEC play, Kentucky's best three-point shooter. And that's that uncommon transition defense failure by LSU. They're so good at getting their defense set, not on that possession.
Keon Brooks to the bench. He's got three. Pinson's three was down and out. And another rebound for Tshiebwe. 5-point game.
Pinson might need to remember he's a 17% three-point shooter. I'm just saying.
Well, Hopkins is worse than that, and he missed, and a good rebound by Murray. Xavier Pinson has a unique ability to go very slow and then quickly pick it up.
And then very fast.
Yeah. Hopkins ties up Reed. Good job by Bryce Hopkins. That ball came down and he grabbed it. It'll stick with LSU this time.
What we like about Kentucky, they've won games this year in the 90s. They've won games in the 60s. And that's what we're tracking right now once again.
And all sorts of wardrobe issues for Efton Reed. We had the shoes being tied, wants the shirt tucked in. You a big tuck your shirt in guy?
I've started to go to the untuck it shirts. The fashionable move.
I really was talking about the basketball court.
Oh,
players.
talking about players.
Not your particular closet. Quick one from Wilkinson, right at the buzzer in front of the bench, and that was huge.
How big is that? Wilkinson doesn't take a lot of them, but 40% on the year in conference play. Big time corner three.
Yeah, Reed with the jump shot, mid-range, and now Wilkinson a three, and it's back to 8.
And that ball's got to go to Tshiebwe. He's got guys on his back and exposing his numbers.
Bryce Hopkins into the paint, picks up a pair.
A lot of high double-up action by LSU to initiate their offense.
You know, behind the back to Murray. His three is too strong. They haven't had many opportunities to run as Grady will find Hopkins, and he's feeling it on the offensive end. Picks up the foul, going to the basket. Boy, Bryce Hopkins has all of a sudden become an offensive go-to guy.
And what has John Calipari told his guys in the locker room? We weren't in there, but I can tell you, run that ball up the floor.
Yeah.
The half-court offense in the first half was rough and stagnant. We've got to force ourselves into this game with our run game off of stops.
So with the injuries, Hopkins getting some more time, Lance Ware. And we've seen this with Kentucky this season, where one night Toppin's outstanding, another night Ware is tonight Hopkins night. 6 games for your Saturday on ESPN. We tip it off at noon Eastern. Big Ten matchup, Purdue, Michigan State. That's at the Breslin Center, noon Eastern, 11 Central, right after College Game Day on ESPN. It can also be seen on the ESPN app. But there are 6 big ones. We're looking for an Auburn-Tennessee showdown in Knoxville. We'll have that for you at 4 o'clock Eastern time.
What does your team do when you're on the floor? Bryce Hopkins, second half, pretty good.
Sixth man is the crowd tonight. They're trying their best as Eason drives, blocked by 2 Wildcat players, Tshiebwe and Toppin.
I don't think Tari Eason's fighting in this game as hard as he's going to have to fight.
Mintz to the rack, and just like that, it's a 2-point ball game. And Mintz flying and sliding all over the place, putting pressure on Xavier Pinson.
Kentucky's so aggressive, Ravi, with their run game right now on offense. Has changed the game.
Eason against a real good defender and a high jumper in Toppin. 5 on the shot clock. Days, no good. Bryce Hopkins in the middle of it with a rebound. Tshiebwe. Denied by Eason, coming over the top, but the Rupp Arena crowd on its feet.
When your half-court offense isn't going, you got to get it done off your defense. And a 6-0 run by Kentucky has been triggered by what they've done with their rim defense. They've sped up their conversion offense. Mintz, the main guy, getting it done. Ball game in Lexington.
This is the SEC on ESPN, and this is, of course, historic Rupp Arena. Kentucky hasn't lost a game here this year, and they're trying to influence this one as well. Is the jet operating, or we're going to have to switch jets?
And now this one's good to go, and this is the SEC version tonight, Ravi, and this is what we're going to have on Selection Sunday. Auburn and Kentucky are going to be in first class. They're going to be a 1 seed or a 2 seed at worst. They're going to be up there with the big boys, and no one has moved more from the back of the plane towards the front of the plane than the Arkansas Razorbacks in the last month. They're right there in that front row with Tennessee and Alabama, LSU solidly in business class, but Tennessee and Arkansas now a chance to move into that 4 or 5 seed line, and those 6 teams are all very dangerous. That's why I think this league's as good as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Last 20 years that we've been around it.
Tennessee and Arkansas both employ that mother-in-law defense.
Yeah, it's constant pressure, make life tough on you.
Accountability.
Yes. She knows I love her, but
look at Bryce Hopkins in the second half. And the other impressive part of that, and the people at home didn't see it, the first 2 off the bench were Lance Ware and Keon Brooks, both of whom would be on the floor if Hopkins weren't.
Ravi, remember Bryce Hopkins was a top 50 kid out of high school. 2-time Chicago High School Player of the Year, a big, big body, man. Does not resemble at all what most young kids look like. Taking advantage of his opportunity, taking advantage of his minutes, building his confidence within this game.
Look at Tshiebwe grab the rebound, and the momentum is all Kentucky's. And there's another one! Bryce Hopkins night at Rupp Arena. Look at the joy his teammates are expressing to see Hopkins, who has scored his first points since January 25th. Hadn't scored a bucket or a point since the 25th of January.
Well, he picked a key time to do it. LSU staring at the ball instead of finding a white jersey to hit hard, and Bryce Hopkins makes him pay because of it.
Season high 8. And this is an act we've seen before with just a different lead actor. Kentucky all year has required somebody not named Washington or Wheeler or Tshiebwe or Grady, and those guys have stepped up big time. Mintz fouls Pinson. Sometimes you lose sight of the fact there's a reason they're at Kentucky. They are great basketball players.
2-time high school player of the year from Chicago, and he may have got a little help by an LSU player, but it doesn't matter. The effort of Hopkins and the reaction of his teammates. Good teams have good players. Great teams have great teammates, and Kentucky has that.
Now, Calipari has echoed that about this club. He really likes his team. We get a chance to go to the shoot-arounds, and as the season progresses, they tend to get shorter. This team is so good at absorbing the lessons that today's shoot-around was like 9 minutes.
It was, yeah. What a first 5 minutes for Kentucky out of the halftime break, huh?
We always talk about the ability to take a punch. LSU's taking a punch here to start this half. Kellen Grady pressed into that point guard role. They got lucky there. Gaines is going to get called for the foul.
Cal continues to use different guys to smoke screen the action at the ball. And what that does, it helps not a real jet quick guy with the ball to get a little bit of an advantage. He's running it for Grady, and he's running it for Mintz.
Toppin just lost it out of bounds, trying to draw the foul on Maury and Eason. Reed's been on the bench for a while. Efton Reed, the 6'11" center, he's got 2 fouls.
They're going to circle action off the baseline, out of bounds, under for a shot.
Nope, Grady too strong. Tshiebwe had it, and they're going to call it on Eason for grabbing the arm of Oscar Tshiebwe. For Tari Eason, another foul. And that moves him to 3.
And I believe that's the 9th time that Tshiebwe has been fouled in this game.
There's an interesting statistic to follow. How many times a guy like that gets fouled in a game? You're right.
Kentucky does everything with 2 hands. Mike White talked about it last night after the Florida loss to Arkansas. He said Arkansas won because they did everything with 2 hands and we did not.
Davion Mintz has come up with a couple of big offensive rebounds, and that is a bad foul. Tari Eason's 4th, did not need to commit that foul. And he will go to the bench, and that's a big deal for their leading offensive player off the bench and arguably their best scorer.
Ravi, remember, LSU has been a top 4 seed 4 years in a row in the SEC tournament. That's in jeopardy of not happening this year, but they have been the model of consistency in this league the last 4 under Will Wade.
LSU already 7 fouls. Mintz free throw is good. So 12-2 is the top. Auburn, it feels like Auburn's going to win their game tonight against Ole Miss. Top 4 teams get that double bye in the SEC tournament. There's Alabama, South Carolina. South Carolina got another win tonight, and Cousinard had 22.
Yeah.
Frank Martin's team starting to play really well.
They're going to be a tough out. What'd you call all those teams with 7 and 7? A pig pile?
Yeah.
That's a compliment. I'll take that.
Well, you win the college baseball championship, you pig pile on the mound. Okay, that's how they celebrate.
All right.
Yeah. Kentucky had 23 points at the half. Xavier Pinson just threw it up, no good. Offensive rebound, Pinson, that's no good. And Tshiebwe in traffic rips it down. Oscar Tshiebwe is into a double-double territory again.
The 6th or 7th rim shot in this game. LSU can't get to drop.
Ooh, look out. Bryce Hopkins, contact, pull up. Everything's going right for Bryce Hopkins. Boy, is he fired up. We will take a timeout. Hopkins, like a Mack truck, just knocked a defender to the floor, then buried a jumper.
He just shot the lights out is what he did.
He did that again. Tshiebwe's got 10 consecutive double-doubles. Longest streak for UK since Jim Andrews in 72-73. And some Bryce-capades here in Ripe Arena. Tough man when Pinson's watching that bull shoot, he's on the ground.
Well, they're outstanding. We saw them in Atlanta.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they were great.
They were phenomenal is what they were, but until they kind of get their mojo back like LSU's trying to do right now, I wouldn't have them in that group of top 5 or 6 that can win. I think they're in the next tier below that. I would have Kansas down there as well. He's still the best win in all of college ball this year is owned by Kentucky when they went and humiliated Kansas in Fall Galley.
15 straight that Tshiebwe's had double-figure rebounds. Remember, they had 23 at the half. They've got 20 in the first 6 minutes of the second half. There's Kentucky. Brandon Murray, hard drive, stop, Tshiebwe block. Days 3 too strong and a Tshiebwe rebound, and that is Oscar Tshiebwe's season in about a 10-second window. Block shot, grab the rebound.
Oscar Tshiebwe also leads Kentucky in block shots and steals. That's another reason why he's the National Player of the Year in my eyes, the best defender on a top 25 defense.
He's got 3 blocks tonight. They have 5. LSU doesn't have any, and the shots are getting too easy for Kentucky. Mintz to Bunny.
Yeah, LSU is letting their offense affect their defense. They are offensive sensitive right now in Rupp, and that is a bad thing for an opponent.
Yeah, Pinson needs to see the ball go through the basket again. He was on fire in the first half, and he's been stuck here in the second. Look out, there's a steal, and Gaines will come in and flush it.
Ravi, Tari Eason, no factor in this ball game.
No.
LSU's leading scorer at 17 a game with 4 fouls, and LSU's going to have to win this one.
Watch it. Yeah, Grady beat his man, and that allows Tshiebwe on the alley-oop.
The bigs of Kentucky are so good at getting away from the ball side of the floor. When you do that, you bring the hammer. Why?
Foul on Oscar Tshiebwe. One thing he doesn't have a lot of tonight, fouls. He does have points, plenty of those, 14 of them. ESPN's exclusive presentation, college basketball, brought to you by Wendy's new hot honey chicken sandwich. Also available on a biscuit at breakfast. That's at participating U.S. Wendy's. 14 and 13 for Tshiebwe.
Bryce Hopkins over the last 8 ball games has been averaging about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So this is a guy that was nominated to the Jordan Brand Classic game, the Allen Iverson round ball. Like this is a real player, to Ravi's point about the depth of Kentucky. And his big body, he's all of 6'6" and probably 230 now. Just a wrecking ball in the second half for Big Blue Nation. And again, what does your team do when you're on the floor? A simple question a lot of young guys don't understand. They want more playing time, and half the time they can't even run the plays in the walkthrough. Bryce Hopkins has hung in there, gotten his opportunity, made the most of it.
They have numbers now, plus, minus. When you're on the floor, your team in a plus category or minus category.
Well, if his in the plus,
it's big plus.
That's
tonight.
A bad system.
All right, LSU has gone into a scoring drought here in the second half. Pinson's gone real cold. And they got 1 on the shot clock, and Gaines launches, and that does draw iron, but a terrible shot. And out of a timeout, you figure you have a better play. Hopkins is a plus 11 tonight.
Ravi, Kentucky is so big on the ball defensively. Some teams are big and play small. Some teams are small and play big. Kentucky's big and plays big.
Keon Brooks back into the game. 5 on the shot clock. He gets it. He drives and throws up a soft one. Bryce Hopkins sit down. Keon Brooks in, 2 points. Days open. They need one badly, and that's not going to go in, and it's going to end up going out of bounds.
Yeah, 1 and 4 for LSU were the dudes in the first half. And they're going to have to force himself into this game with 10:50 to go. Remember Grady, he played point guard at Davidson as a freshman.
Yeah,
He's pretty confident with that ball.
And a lot more in the second half than the first half. It was a real tentative nature for the Cats in the first half. Very different here in the second. 22 and 5 on the year, 11 and 3 in conference. 3 ball will not go. Spent so much time as the point guard, difficult to do that, although the last game against Alabama, he did both. Excellent.
Remember LSU, the worst in the SEC in offensive efficiency in conference play. And Kentucky's defense has been hot, but LSU's not helping themselves. They're not running good stuff.
Hinson into big-time traffic, nowhere to go with it, out of bounds. Tshiebwe getting a crowd into it. He stood home and forced Pinson into a bad pass.
Every time you and I walk into Rupp Arena, it has an NBA feel, does it not? What was this?
That was a miscommunication. Calipari was trying to instruct Keon Brooks and Kellen Grady on what to do. Things they actually did go over in the shoot-around, and that just broke down.
Rupp just has a different feel about it, though, does it not?
It feels like an NBA crowd most of the time, although you can tell the students now are getting louder and seemingly more than we've seen. It's always packed. Yeah, there's a very professional atmosphere that you get when you get to a game at Rupp. As you mentioned, you can start the game at 1 a.m. and it'll be full.
It'll be full. LSU just, they can't get inside Kentucky's defense in this half.
No, oh, there's a foul. Yeah, Gaines just ran into the Tshiebwe wall. Our buddy Scott Van Pelt will have SportsCenter after the game. SVP will have highlights, reaction from the ranked teams on a very busy Wednesday night. Challenges ahead for teams that are on the bubble like the Wolverines. And of course, Cavs, and how close is Kyrie to playing home games for the Nets? Latest report on KD's return from injury. SportsCenter with SVP follows the game tonight. Gaines free throw, rattles around the rim and drops through to make it a 6-point game.
This is usually where Will Wade will go to his 2-2-1.
Section 231.
Full court set, yeah. It doesn't matter, you're in the building.
They're doing a lot of work on the outside of Rupp and around the concourse area. And not much you do on the inside, probably not much you want to do to the inside, given the success that Calipari and the Cats have enjoyed in this building. And again, unbeaten this year, 16-0.
This is not a casual press by LSU. They're trying to get one right now.
And Grady's trying to dribble through it. Now he's looking for Mintz. They got it over with 9 of the 10 they had. Drive and a foul. Kellen Grady will go to the free throw line.
Well, that was so good by Kentucky to keep that ball hot and keep it moving. Because LSU was really good transitioning from full court pressure to getting their half court defense set. Grady just dropped his nose and attacked the rim.
He came back on the floor for about a minute, and Tari Eason picked up his 5th and final foul, and a very disappointing night for Eason, who will go to the bench, and he will leave with just 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting in 13 minutes.
Ravi, he did not fight.
No.
In the first half,
we've seen that. There's been another game or two where he's had that with him.
I mean, he's averaging 17 in SEC play, but he got his shot blocked in the first half. Dropped his head and didn't sprint back, and
you mentioned that early,
right off the bat. You got to see those things, man. It's not going to go your way, and you're a key guy. You got to fight. Terrific kid, though.
Bunch of skill in that body.
Yeah. Honor roll student, can talk to you about life, politics, religion, what's going on in the world, but he better learn from this game tonight. LSU needs him if he's going to be a factor in March.
Under 10, 7-point cushion for Kentucky, who trail 31-23 at the half. Gaines, good look there, down low. Tshiebwe from behind. Call was made out top by Byron Jarrett.
That play was really well built, though, from the get-go. You got Efton Reed with a guy on the high side, and the ball gets quickly reversed. The ball is delivered with a purpose.
Reed is just a 46% free throw shooter. You can see why. Walker Kessler in this conference has developed. Colin Castleton has developed. Efton Reed has the ability to develop.
Yes, he does. Jalen Williams last night at Arkansas. Phenomenal right now in his development from last year to this year.
Here you go.
It feels like Kentucky has control of the game, and it's 49-43.
Yeah, but the press is causing all sorts of problems, and you can see that. Grady just lost it again. Gaines slays it up and in. Since they've gone to the press, it has caused problems.
I said in the first half, if I was LSU, I would press the life out of Kentucky for 40 minutes. We may see it for the next 8:44.
Mintz outruns Murray, throws it up and gets fouled.
LSU's got 2 or 3 different versions, Ravi, of full court pressure. Long, quick athletes that really have a nose for the ball, and they go at the ball with 2 hands very well in their half court when you attack a gap, and in their full court transition, their full court defense. Kentucky cannot get sloppy with this thing now with 8:40 to go.
Three turnovers this half for Kentucky, 7 in the game. Really difficult without your starting point guard, Sarveer Wheeler, who's amongst the league leaders and the nation's leaders in assists. He's dealing with what appeared to be a right wrist, arm. I know they're calling it an upper extremity, but it's the right arm or wrist of Wheeler that's caused problems for him. We saw him fall hard to the floor. And it was not something that he could shake so easily.
I think John Calipari knows if they're healthy when the bracket comes out, they're one of the 4 or 5 favorites to cut down the nets.
Yeah, good defense that time on the floor. Collins into the game, but Mintz stayed home against Gaines.
I still believe when Kentucky's healthy, full speed, they're the best team in college basketball right now.
Yeah.
Circle action for Grady. One of Cal's favorite plays, working those shooters off that baseline.
They switched and they left Collins wide open, and he was unable to come up with it. He had it. Calipari nearly ripped all that great hair he's got out of his head.
He literally made you pull your hair.
I'm going to call that on Collins for Kentucky. Timeout here, 7:48, and a crucial couple of minutes coming up here at Rupp. Kentucky 51, LSU 45. Back with Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch. LSU's defense, especially the press here late, has brought this game a lot closer than it felt about 6 minutes ago.
Well, they're going to have to stay after it, and it's important for them to score to get their press set. And that's the biggest thing for John Calipari, I'm sure, in that last timeout is, well, how are we attacking this press? Attack being the key word. You cannot settle for just getting across the timeline. Kentucky's been good when they've driven that ball to the rim. But LSU, again, they don't give up a lot of easy ones on the year in their full court pressure. And Kentucky's going to have to be secure with it.
Reed on the cut. He got one guy in the air, and then he threw a pass to Pinson, who wasn't expecting it.
The ball has to go up on the rim if you're Efton Reed. You catch the ball as a 7-footer, 3 feet from the rim. The ball has got to get on the glass.
See what Xavier Pinson has left in his tank in the last 7:43. Been a tale of 2 halves for him. He carried the team early. Keon Brooks pull up, a little short, and it is. Tshiebwe, an offensive rebound, and another.
You wonder if John Calipari will go to Hopkins again in the second half. He can't do any more than he did when he was in there.
Grady threw it up. Tshiebwe, 15th offensive, I should say, 15th rebound, and now 16 points. So there's your 16-15 numbers for Tshiebwe.
Yeah, you might forget to box him off. He never forgets to go to the glass. Again, does not get bored with the basics.
Pinson, that's off to the right. Days went up for it. Look out. Brooks, Reed, and our official Byron Jarrett all went to the floor.
LSU's, they're being guarded hard by Kentucky, but they're also guarding themselves with not great offense. Efton Reed comes off to challenge a shot, and that's a mistake. Oscar Tshiebwe with inside position is going to win any shove and push match that he's involved in.
Brooks out, and Bryce Hopkins, the star of the night, is back in for Kentucky. Bryce Hopkins has 11 points. He played 17 minutes in the last 11 games, including 3 did-not plays. He's playing now 10 tonight. Gaines 3 corner, good one set up by Pinson. Hanging around 53-48.
And now that full court press is set, Kentucky's going to try to smack it in the backcourt by setting a screen. Real way to watch him the last time out, Ravi. He was very positive with his guys. Like almost you could read his lips. Get our press set and we're going to get right back in this game.
Mintz, a runner, tough shot on the baseline.
And Efton Reed kind of got out of his way and got on his shot shoulder side and freed up Mintz. Had he just thrown up the wall, might have drawn a charge.
Seven-point game. Pinson with 7 on the shot clock. Kicks it to Murray. Gaines, back-to-back threes. No. On the floor, it's going to be against Kentucky. And it's going to go against Jacob Toppin with a push on Efton Reed underneath.
Ravi, Mintz played all 40 minutes against Alabama and didn't have a turnover. And he's going to be about 38 minutes in this ball game, and he only has 1. So you lose Xavier Wheeler and Ty Washington. A lot of pressure on Tendon White to handle that ball. And he has been outstanding the last game and almost now two.
And Grady was outstanding in that game too, with his responsibilities added as a ball handler. Didn't turn the ball over either that night, and that one's out of bounds off LSU.
There's a lot of movement for a 7-footer with his free throw, Efton Reed. He's going to have to really clean that movement up in the offseason.
Feels like when Grady's able to dribble past one or two guys, they break the press a lot easier. This time Toppin got it. Once he escapes that first trap, Kentucky seems to be in business. Here he goes to the rack all the way. Oh, he gets a high one off the window, soft touch, and a foul on Efton Reed.
That's a set call by John Calipari. Again, the smoke screen frees up Grady. Here comes the screen, bam. And you get LSU in a little bit of confusion, thinking that it's a ball screen and it's not, and now the mismatch is on. And it gets Grady to his strong right hand where he's at his best. A simple, fast play call by Kentucky that executes it with quickness.
Real balanced scoring now. The largest lead of the night. 4 Wildcat players in double figures.
Robbie, I'm telling you, that smoke screen, it makes an okay foot speed guy a step and a half faster, and Cal's gone to it in the second half.
Murray, who hasn't done anything offensively, still can't get that to go. Grady with a rebound in a real dangerous spot now for LSU here on the road, down 10 with 5 to go.
And this is where Cal loves to grind it out, man, the last 5 minutes.
Grady again. Kellen Grady, 13. Foul on Mintz. I don't know if they're putting a new roof on the building, but the way this crowd's acting, they may need to.
Man, Kellen Grady going right one possession, and comes right back, and Cal gets him going downhill with his left. It's all created, though, by the shield off by Oscar Tshiebwe. Just takes the defensive help completely out of the equation, and Grady with a long arm reach can make hard layups around the rim on either side. Man, the depth of Kentucky is special.
And as good as the LSU defense was in the first half, Kentucky scored 23, fewest they had in any half this year. They're shooting 59% here. That great defense is kind of falling apart. 13 of 22 for the Wildcats from the floor.
I think Will Wade would be the first to say their lack of offense in the second half affected their defense. I call it being offensive sensitive, and you can't win hard games not like that.
We talked so much about Oscar Tshiebwe, but you're reminded how valuable a player Kellen Grady, given the injuries, has become for this team.
Yeah, he was one of the most important guys in the transfer portal. Kentucky needed a shooter, they got it. They needed toughness with Tshiebwe, they got it. And they needed a point guard, and they got it with Wheeler.
Now here's Grady. He's got 2 on the shot clock. Over Reed, offensive rebound. Bryce Hopkins. I don't know who the star of the night is, but he's in the conversation with Grady and Tshiebwe. He's been outstanding.
You know what Bryce Hopkins is telling John Calipari?
More minutes.
You need to play me, coach.
That's right.
You can say it all you want. You get on the floor, you better produce in 23 in white hats.
And again, the best part of it all is just how valuable he is when he's not playing, and it's reflected in the emotions and reactions of his teammates. Every time Hopkins makes a bucket, the team reacts as if they've just won a national championship. Good for him. 62-50 Cats. Fairly incredible what Oscar Tshiebwe does on a nightly basis. Tonight he actually went into the crowd, got a little selfie taken earlier. Then he got poked in the eye before the game. You had that moment, and then there were all the moments on the court.
You know, Cal can't take him off. And he's going to win everything in front of the rim. And just a very quiet, 16 to 15 so far. Ravi, his winning plays outside of the obvious rebounds and the steals and the blocks, just his presence and his gravity ability as an inside player for the defense to always be attracted to him. It opens up so many things for Cal and his half-court offense.
Yeah. The breakdown of those 15 rebounds, 6 of them on the offensive end, 9 of them defensive rebounds. And now, can LSU muster a comeback here in the last 4 minutes? That would have been a good way to start, but Darius Day's 3 misses. He's 3 of 13 from the floor and 2 of 9 from 3.
How about Kentucky tonight, Ravi? Without their 2 point guards, they have 8 turnovers in this game against the number 3 defense in the country. Cannot ask for anything better than that.
Yeah, and I would imagine if you ask people how many 3-pointers Kellen Grady had tonight, they'd say, I don't know, 2 or 3. He doesn't have 1. Oh my goodness, Jacob Toppin off the window for a 3. You never like to say the game's over. When that happens, the game feels like it's over. They're up by 15 with 3 to go. And Toppin just knocked in a 3 off the backboard.
Well, Kentucky's done something very simple in the second half. They've stayed in front of the basketball about 90% of the time.
Hopkins got beaten. Nice play by Xavier Pinson. Jimmy talks so much about staying square and in front of a guy. Hips got open and he blew by him.
Yeah, Hopkins just caught in a mismatch that time, but he fought.
Yep.
Just advantage Pinson on that one. Tap him on the butt and play on. I'm with you. Grady's confidence as that with the handle has improved within the game.
Within the game,
yes, it
absolutely.
Has. Your confidence, I saw in the second half, even rose up a little bit.
Yeah, it was a slow start. That's good defense here by Gaines, causing Mintz all sorts of problems. They got 3 on the shot clock when he throws it up. Oh, he went down hard. They finally blew the whistle. Late call. Came from Patrick Evans. And Jacob Toppin hit the hardwood hard.
The pressure finally bothered Kentucky. Mintz got loose with it at the timeline. That was an awkward, hard fall by Jacob Toppin, he's battled his own injuries this year.
Talking to Calipari earlier today, though, one of the things about Toppin, whose confidence is growing, as Efton Reed will have to leave with his 5th foul, how much time he spent in the gym. There's certain, the longer you're around Coach Calipari, the more familiar things become year in and year out.
Yeah.
One of them is the attention that the player plays to the gym. Is he really interested in becoming a better player? He'll put it always on the player. How much do you do for the team? He emphasizes the outside noise and reducing it. And when the players can play for the guys in the locker room and not the folks outside the clubhouse, then we're much better off. Different themes that recur every year. And one of them with Toppin, the same way it was, depending on who it was, Tyler here, it didn't matter. Whoever the player was, if they're in the gym all the time, they're trying to get better, not waiting for us to help them get better.
He's brutally honest with his guys. And he told Jacob Toppin after last year, your first year here, your practice habits were like a 7th or an 8th grader. And until you get serious about this game, you're going to be down on the bench. And Jacob Toppin has gone to work.
Yes. They're 2 of 17 from 3-point land is LSU. 2 of 17 after starting the game, 5 of 6. And that's why they are down by 12.
Kentucky can beat a good team playing in the 90s, playing in the 60s, and playing without their 2 starting point guards.
There's a 10-second violation as LSU clamps down a little bit. So Washington and Wheeler sat today. I'm not sure what's going to happen on Saturday and what Calipari's plans are. Your point's well taken as Hopkins comes out and gets a huge ovation, standing ovation for many. Do you rush anybody back for a big game at Arkansas, or do you say, you know what, like you said, I don't care where we play, what region we're in. If we're healthy, we can win anywhere against any team.
You don't rush anybody back right now if you're John Calipari. you've got one of those teams that can absolutely win it all. And as electric as Bud Walton was against Auburn a couple of weeks ago, it's going to be bigger than that. It's going to be bigger than that against Kentucky on Saturday. And Kentucky's not bothered by big games. That's why they come here. And Cal just kind of cuts his guys loose and lets them play in an environment like that. But we saw Arkansas last night. They are the real deal, man. To me, they're similar to what Houston was last year. Got to the Final Four with unbelievable defensive toughness and grit and moxie about them. Just enough offense. Note's a star. A lot of eyes on that game Saturday, Kentucky at Arkansas.
Yeah, Note's a guy that loves that contact. Yeah. It'll be a huge test for Jalen Williams. See what he does against Oscar Tshiebwe. They got a bunch of guys, you keep saying 6'7", 6'8", like to bang with it. There's no Walker Kessler on that team. There's no Colin Castleton on that team. But Williams is becoming that guy. But he's undersized. He's 6'10".
Yep. But to answer your question again, if Severe Wheeler and Ty Washington are not 100% physically and mentally ready to play at Arkansas on Saturday, they don't step foot on the floor.
Brandon McKissick was the one from Florida that rolled up against him. And watch McKissick's reaction here. He knows that Washington's in some serious pain, and he's obviously not something done on purpose. He came back and tried to play against Tennessee, and early in that game looked pretty good. And then as the game wore on, it was as if it kind of got tired, or he re-aggravated that leg injury of his, so he sits. You go into the game against Alabama and LSU minus those two, you think you're going 2-0?
Well, you're on your home floor. That certainly helped, but those are two really good teams. Alabama and LSU are a problem in that NCAA tournament. And Kentucky handled them both.
They trap Grady, get it to Brooks, and now they got a chance to break it, and that's a block. It's a painful block because Gaines ended up whacking himself into the scorer's table on the other side of where we sit. And free throws coming up for the Wildcats.
John Calipari, I was talking to a local TV station before the game today. They asked me about Cal last year to this year. He didn't learn how to coach ball this year for the first time. Like, he's always been one of the top X and O's guys out there. But he has his Cal confidence and Cal swagger back because he knows what he's got on with his personnel to work with. And everything was on the table last year for John Calipari at the end of the year. A lot of people questioning, has the game passed him by? We need to shoot 33s a game and play this racehorse basketball. Yeah. Cal made changes to his staff. He made changes to his personnel. And they are right back where Kentucky is supposed to be on the national stage.
Different guy. It's almost like he had a bite of a Snickers. And all of a sudden we turn that frown upside down, and here we go.
Yeah. You and your candy stories.
I saw you bank a few Tootsie Rolls for late night. You had a whole meal planned. When Jimmy goes back to the hotel room at night, you get a whole meal planned post-game so we can break down the film of the game. We got soup. What else we got tonight?
Half a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
And some chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
We'll be up till about 2 watching this film and send you home. And then I'll see you in Knoxville on Saturday for a major battle in this league. Bruce Pearl once again returns to Knoxville.
4 o'clock tip, part of that 6-pack of games on Saturday on ESPN. Two huge games in the SEC. Tennessee with a statement opportunity against Auburn. And Auburn's listing a little bit all of a sudden.
Well, their point guard decision at Florida last weekend brought a little bit of a question mark. And Bruce will figure out how to close out a close game going forward. They're still one of the top 4 or 5 teams out there. On the big jet at the end of the year, I'm going to put Bruce Pearl sitting in the seat beside Coach K. I just want to listen to that conversation.
Gaines with a steal. With a minute to go. Murray finally gets a 3 to drop.
Crazier things have happened, Ravi. Now you're down to a 2-possession game. And that press is alive and hot for LSU.
He gets it into Brooks on the baseline. Look out. Tied up. Brooks still has it. They got to get it over quick. Grady does, and he calls timeout.
Kentucky all of a sudden is fighting for their life.
many folks, this is one of those. You leave the ballpark early and all of a sudden you got a 3-run homer and you got a 2 men on when you were trailing by 5. A few folks have left here tonight and still within reach for LSU.
And a few made a U-turn as they got to the top of the
Exactly
steps and
right.
came right back down. Just the length of LSU with the press can really get after. That's just a careless pass up the sidelines that never was open from the get-go. And you knock down a 3, and all of a sudden there's game pressure right back on Kentucky to close this thing out. The possession arrow favors Kentucky. Cal's got 2 timeouts to use if he has to and gets hung up. Little look of concern at, I don't know what time it is, but it's late local time. 11:19, 11:20.
Dinner time. Well, again, as long as they are and as good as they are in the press, it's a different world when Wheeler is on the floor and Washington's on the floor.
Yeah, this game would have been closed out the last 2 minutes. Those guys just beat you off the bounce and close you out the free throw line.
Think about the job R.J. Cole did for UConn last night, a big win over Villanova. That's the guy. You need that guy on the floor.
He is cold-blooded is what he is. We saw that in Atlantis.
Yeah, Mintz with a step through.
That's a walk.
Travel is called.
Absolutely it is.
No foul.
Davian's got to make the pass and get that thing out there and not try to beat the double team off the bounce. Do not go to bed yet. Do not leave the arena.
Pinson. Foul. Oh. No, nearly went in. Mintz. So the clock will stop. Xavier Pinson will go to the free throw line. He is 10 of 11 from the stripe tonight.
Going to score with the clock stopped. And that full court pressure is going to come once again. Kentucky players are looking around a little bit like who wants the ball.
Xavier Pinson has 25 points tonight.
You know those 2 guys know how to break the press. The issue is that the 5 guys on the floor.
Kentucky needs to get it in. That's a 5-second violation. Oh my goodness, a travel followed by a 5-second violation.
It was a 15-point lead just under 2 minutes ago. Kentucky has completely collapsed against the press.
Kentucky wants to get Bryce Hopkins into the game. They'll take Tshiebwe out. What a wild last minute here, LSU. They'll get it to Gaines.
He's going to drive it. Got him.
Oh, and he missed it though, and that's a huge play as Brooks picks up the rebound. They got a foul here. They throw it out. Hopkins is open and Grady wisely dribbles it out. And now the foul comes with 13. Boy, Xavier Pinson at the rim. The game started with them missing layups at the rim, and it's going to finish really their chance tonight by missing one at the rim.
That's at least the 8th or 9th shot that LSU has missed right at the rim in this ball game. And I've said it a lot of times over the years. Free throws and layups. You make more than the other team, you win the ball game. It's still not completely over. It's still going to be a 2-possession game even with a make. If you have a rush the ball up into a quick dribble handoff and fire a 3 for Darius Days, Gaines can make one, but you got to go fast now. You go fast, you got to get a 3. Shoot it.
He does, and it's short. Look out, that one went off Grady's face. Ten turnovers in the half for Kentucky, allowed LSU to hang around. Into Days, he gets it to go with 3.7 to go.
You've got a foul as soon as Kentucky gets their hands on it. They force another 5.
Yeah, they were close to it.
This will be an interesting conversation with Cal afterwards. Assuming they hold on, I think they will.
talk about the stress and anxiety through the course of the game when you don't have your point guard or your second option of point guard, and you get down to the last minute and you realize all that stress and anxiety pales into what we're dealing with right now. We can't get the ball in. We can't dribble the ball. We're turning it over. But if you walk away with a win, Jimmy, without those two guys on the floor,
it's huge.
You got to feel good about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, he'll not feel good about the last 2 minutes because it's still on the guys on the floor to execute a press breaker. They got enough handlers to handle it better than they have. I mean, even without Ty and Severe, Kentucky's got to be cleaner with their press offense than they've been. LSU they refuse to go away in this game. There's a 15-point game with, I don't know, about 2 minutes to go, and LSU made a couple of shots and got a couple of transition plays off their press, and they made Kentucky sweat and work, and Kentucky still is sweating and working with 3.7 to go. Kentucky still with one timeout. Ravi, the possession arrow favors the Wildcats. Will Wade is out of timeouts. This is all about face guard and pressure, and try to get a quick one if you're LSU. If you're Kentucky, just absolutely don't even get close. If you turn it over, they give an opportunity for a foul on any type of shot. He's not happy with too many people on that bench right now.
No, he's not.
Coaches, managers, players.
Toppin, who didn't want to throw the ball in a few seconds ago, now has to get it in, and they're going to call another timeout.
Well, there wasn't much action there. Cal put his guys in just kind of a box set, a little up screen action with pretty simple to fight through or switch. And now Cal has no timeouts to work with. So if you're Kentucky, you got to at least throw the ball towards your end and have a guy down here and let the time work. LSU, Will Wade knows that somehow he still crazily has a chance in this game. He's listening to Pinson, which, you know, good coaches that trust their team. They say, well, what do you think about our defense right now? What do you guys want to do? Face guard, keep pressure on the ball, and fight with all you got with 3.7. Yeah, I think Cal's just going to try to throw it to Tshiebwe and just.
I'm a little confused as to why they haven't just thrown the ball in with 3.7, two possession game. 3.7 by the time it gets to the half, the game's going to end.
I think that's where he's going to, with Toppin and Hopkins maybe breaking up. Just throw it. I would have rather thrown it long and short, but either way, you got to throw the ball in.
They took off 0.6 from the clock. Again, no timeout. So a free throw. In effect, the game's over. I mean, how has LSU scored twice in 3.1 seconds?
It'd be very difficult. Kentucky just have to fall down. I'm going to ask Cal about the first 38 minutes, and then you can ask him the second question. Oh, man, the life of a coach. The stress, that internal debate that you have as a coach inside your mind for the 4 or 5 months of games, it is relentless. And the voices get louder and louder. The conversation he will have with himself tonight trying to go to sleep, it will be on stereo in his mind.
SVP has been very patiently waiting. I'm sure the bad beat situation is somewhat present. I think it was a 7.5-point Kentucky spread, which is not really going to be a factor tonight, given Tshiebwe just missed that. Oscar is looking for .17.
You can't say don't foul enough right now if you're John Calipari.
Can you get from one end to the other in 3 seconds?
Well, you can. The game's going to be over, but
that basket will not count. 5-point game is the difference. 71-66. They win without Wheeler and without Washington. It got real interesting down the stretch. Last thought?
It's over, but it ain't over until now.
SVP is coming up next. For Jimmy Dykes and our entire crew, I'm Carl Ravitch. So long from Lexington. It's yours, SVP.